Hello, it's good to see you again. I want to share with you today from the scripture found in Mark chapter 10, verse 35 through 45. And it has to do with the brothers James and John, the brothers of Zebedee, coming to Jesus and asking Jesus for a special favor. They asked that when he comes to his glory, that one of them be seated to his right and the other be seated to his left. They looked at his earthly kingdom and they wanted to have a place of status and a place of power. And Jesus said to them that it is really not mine to give. In fact, it is prepared for whom it has been prepared for. And I cannot guarantee that you will have that privilege of sitting to my right or to my left when I come into my glory. But one thing that I can ask of you is that you share of the cup that I'm drinking from and that you are baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. They said we can do this, and again they're angling for the special place in his kingdom. But the other 10 disciples, they got angry when they found out what James and John had asked for, and we would probably be angry too, because they had walked along and they had gone through all of the suffering and all of the sacrifice that James and John had gone through. Not one of them were exempt from it. All of them had to leave their families and their homes and their lands and their businesses in order to follow Jesus. And yet here were two out of the 12 asking Jesus for a special favor. Sisters and brothers, you know, we see this all the time where people are given preference and special treatment, where people are allowed to be promoted over others, and where people who are not necessarily deserving find themselves in positions because of their special relationship with someone else, a position that is over us, over you. And that's angering, and that's not fair. And that is what's going on here. There is a lack of fairness in the requests of James and John. But Jesus says that I cannot give this to you because it is simply going to be granted to those who have served the best, those who have lifted others, those who have committed themselves to the good news of Jesus Christ, and those who have served each other and served others with a faithfulness that was unfailing and unfaltering. But one of the things that I look at when I look at this scripture is how in everyday life there are people that are granted position just because of their connection, just because of who they know, just because of who they grew up with or who they have a connection with. And none of us think that that is fair. But one of the things that this gospel reading from chapter 10 of Mark, verses 35 to 45, it really causes us and challenges us to encounter a whole new way of seeing the world, a whole new way. Because one of the things that Jesus challenges them on, Jesus says, this is not our way. I'm paraphrasing that, of course, but he says this is the way of the Romans, this is the way of the Gentiles, where they lord over each other. But our way is to serve each other, to lift each other, just as Christ has been engaged in serving all of humanity and lifting all of humanity. We cannot do it any differently. We're challenged and we're shown in this scripture that we are truly conditioned very often and colonialized by life. We think in the paradigms in which the world has given to us. We think that the first will always be first and the last will always be last, and that those who are last are somehow deserving of being last, and those who are first are somehow deserving of being first. But that's not what this gospel is trying to show us. This gospel is saying that we must free ourselves from the ways in which the world has attempted to condition us and to think of life and to think of success. That we must free ourselves from the kind of hierarchical structure that the world puts in place and realize that we are brothers and sisters of one another, and that means that we serve each other, we care for one another, we love one another, and we do our best to lift each other. What this means is that if there's something that I have that is a gift from God, I should find ways in which to help others to acquire that gift, help others to live to their fullest potential, have others to live to their own glory of God. Sisters and brothers, we are called to engage a new paradigm of life. We're called to live the gospel in some new ways. No, we're not called to lord over each other. We're not called to be higher than our brothers and sisters. We're called to serve all of humanity, to serve all of humanity for the glory of God. Now just think of it. If we're worried about positions, then we're really not worried about whether we're doing what we're supposed to be doing well. We're worried about our connections. We're worried about whether someone, in fact, will like us and promote us. But what the challenge is here is that wherever you are, you do your job well. Whatever you're faced with, you do it well and you do it to the glory of God. And that in the end, even if man and woman do not recognize you, God will see your faithfulness and God will bless you. That is the good news for all of us, to serve God with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our mind, and with all of our strength, to serve God and to receive the blessings that God will give to us. Wanted to share just a few words. I ask that you read chapter 10 of Mark, verses 35 through 45, and you can see what I'm talking about, and you can gather from that your own interpretation. God bless you, and we shall talk and see each other next time. Take care.